Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. It's Saturday morning and it's time for Saturday Morning Blast Off. There we go. So this is my news show, basically, where everything that came out during the week in genre, entertainment news, all that kind of stuff, I talk about within reason, and whatever you guys want to talk about in the chat as well. Let's see, we got a couple of people in the chat. The filthy news and sculpted leather art by Viking Bitch. I saw there was somebody else in here too. Actually, there's a couple of people that are kind of lurking at the moment. Yeah, I know it's 2 p.m. over there, filthy. I'm glad that it's and Pen Farm Girl, how's it going? I got my morning fuel here for me. It may or may not be tea, who knows? I'm not going to say. I'm neither going to confirm nor deny any of that. So, one of the things I did want to talk about, of course, is the hashtag Save Counterpart movement. It looks like we're going to have to go through this. Hey, Slurmy Scott, I didn't see you there. So, hey, how's it going? That's a Superman logo on my shirt, by the way. So that's what that is. So, Counterpart, man. I mean, we've been getting some really weird tweets from some of the cast and crew, and they've been kind of cryptic, but considering that the news last week that I pointed out was that Counterpart has non-existent ratings at the moment in the ratings field because, stars being the shitheads that they are, don't advertise at all for this show. They advertise the shit out of Outlander, which no one cares about. But a show like Counterpart, they don't bring to Comic-Con. They don't bring, they don't do any advertising anywhere for it at all. So, of course, no one knows about this show. It's the show that Fringe wish it could have been. And no one's watching it except for us. It seems like a few people. And I started this hashtag Save Counterpart movement. I know other people probably have as well. Other people have retweeted it as well. And I want it to grow at this point because it's a really damn good show. Hey, Movie Finobi. Hey, Morks. It just needs to be brought out to the light, and people need to watch it, especially since, shit like the Orville is getting rave reviews, but their ratings are in the toilet, and it looks like that shit's going to get like another season out of it. And all it does is it copies Star Trek: The Next Generation. So, and it does a poor job at that too. It needs a laugh track. I finally figured out what it was that was bothering me about the Orville. It needs a laugh track, even during the serious moments, because that's what he wanted to set it up as. Yeah, Pen Farm Girl. I know there's people who love Outlander. I've got coworkers who love Outlander as well that are not interested in genre stuff at all. They're interested in Lifetime movies and things like that. And it's not. It really is a Harlequin romance novel with time travel added in as a trope. That's really all it is. Pen Farm Girl says it isn't that bad, but it pisses me off that they only promote it and nothing else. Yeah, that really pisses me off when I go to Comic-Con and the big banners that I see up there are for Outlander and nothing else. Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 3 was coming out and they did zero. Absolutely zero advertising at Comic-Con for it. They didn't bring the cast in, nothing like they had done for Season 1 and 2. So, yeah. Yeah, Viking Bitch, that is why you didn't like Outlander. It really is just, Harlequin romance novel with time travel thrown in. Entertain me, Dennis, is what Movie Finobi says. Dance, monkey, dance. I don't do dancing anymore ever since the old war injury flared up. I never went to war, so, good thing for me. So yeah, it's a shame that it comes to this. You have to, fight for a really damn good TV show, but it is the best show on TV right now. Counterpart. It's got espionage. It's got sci-fi. It's got, drama. It's got everything you want in a TV show. and it's very well acted, very well written, and you have breadcrumbs as well. It's a mystery as well because you don't know what exactly happened, which we're going to find out tomorrow or tonight, since it drops at midnight tonight. Yeah, and man, that's all I'm going to say. Penn Farm Girl says, I've asked the Outlander fans to try Counterpart since they have stars already. No interest. Yeah. I understand. It doesn't translate over well to the Outlander crew at all because it doesn't have that the gooey Harlequin romance stuff in it. Scooby-Doo mystery? No, it's not a Scooby-Doo mystery, but it is close sometimes. Especially when we found out, about Ian not being Ian and he's actually Wesley. Uh-oh, that's a spoiler. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. So if you want to see some good TV, watch Counterpart, man. I mean, really, it's well worth your time, especially if you like genre, if you like espionage, if you liked Fringe in any way. This is Fringe done so much better. So there you go. Yeah, and I'm probably going to mention it a couple times more through the show, so don't mind me on that one. But on to some happy news. So we got some word that Ghostbusters 3 is now in the works. Ivan Reitman's son, Jason Reitman, decided that he's going to direct it. And I guess there's a script that's going on, and more news keeps coming out about this. That Dan Aykroyd, I guess, was really instrumental. Remember a couple of months ago, Dan Aykroyd was saying, oh, Ghostbusters 3 is going to happen. We got a script going and all this kind of stuff. And everyone's like, yeah, you've been saying that for 30 years. No one ever takes you seriously on this. Well, it's actually happening now. And right off the heels of the news that they are doing this Ghostbusters 3, they released a teaser trailer. So the teaser trailer isn't much to look at. I mean, it's just the Ecto-1 in a barn with some, you see some sparks going off. So somebody's working on something in the barn. And it just says that it's coming in 2020. So, and yes, Filthy, the trailer was better than the 2016 movie. But the less said about the 2016 movie, the better. Because Paul Feig just needs to stick with comedies and that he knows stuff about and not deal with anybody else's properties, just his own properties. That's all. Because that's all he needs to destroy. Go for there. I'm sorry, the 2016 movie, I own it digitally because I got it for free. And I've watched it once, and that was it. That's all I needed to watch it. It's not that, not the misogyny or anything like that going on. It's just not a funny movie. It really isn't. There's some stereotypes in there too, some really bad stereotypes, like racial stereotypes. And it's not a good movie. So that's all I'm going to say. But we also got some more news on this. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the main characters are going to be 4 teens, 2 boys and 2 girls. And we got even more news. Ernie Hudson has confirmed that he, Dan Aykroyd, and Bill Murray are all returning to their original roles for the movie. So we got the whole gang back, minus Harold Ramis, rest in peace. And we're going to have, it sounds like the Extreme Ghostbusters is really what it sounds like to me at this point. And I am looking forward to that because, Extreme Ghostbusters was actually pretty damn good. It was a lot of fun. And if you haven't seen Extreme Ghostbusters, I don't know if it's on Netflix at all, but I'm sure you can find it out there someplace. It was a decent animated series. It was fairly decent. And that was back when PC Attitude was, making its first go around in the 90s. So you had a guy in a wheelchair and, a girl and all this kind of stuff. They were trying to make everyone, So yeah, it's kind of funny that everything old is new again, as John Lennon said. Yeah, Slurmy Scott, Ghostbusters Next Generation. They've been working towards that all this time, and that's what the 2016 movie should have been, but didn't. They wanted to say, no, we don't want to do anything like that, but we want to steal everything from the first movie as possible. Yeah. So, yeah. Pen Farm Girl says, so far the news is all encouraging. I hope we get what we're hoping for. Yeah, I'm hoping that it's going to be good. It should be a lot of fun. And who knows, it could be a steaming pile of shit too, like we've had before with, Blade Runner 2049, and a couple other things that have come in 30 years after the fact. And I say this all the time. Look behind me. There's a row of books up here. There's shit tons of stories out there that can be made into movies. You don't need to rehash old stories. I'm not jinxing it, Filthy News. It's got Jason Reitman on it, so it's a 50-50 proposition on it. It really is. So yeah, there's just a lot of stuff out there that you could be making into new stuff. You just need to take a chance on it. And yes, I know, it costs money to make a movie, and you don't want to, quote unquote, take a gamble on something new because no one knows what it's going to do. That's what this is all about, man. I mean, start taking a look at your finances on how you're making these movies, scale it back so you can actually make these movies profitably, and then go ahead and make them. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, it sounds, I'm giving a simplistic approach to this, but quite honestly, there's a lot of waste in Hollywood, a lot of waste in movie making. So, thank you, Viking Bitch. Says, I like the positive flavor of this podcast. Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm not wasting my time on crappy shows or covering anything or, being negative on stuff, because it's quite honestly, there's a lot of other podcasts out there that are doing it. You can go and watch those ones if you want to watch something negative. There's a lot of shit out there on that. So, in YouTube land. Slurmy Scott says, wonder if Venom is getting a sequel. Yeah, it is. It already has a sequel planned. I read something about it, but there's nothing firm as of yet. But Amy Pascal and Aubrey Arad, yeah, they have their claws in that one, and they're not letting go. So that one is happening. And Filthy News, there are 2 cutscenes in that movie. And one actually leads into, it was actually a scene from Into the Spider-Verse. So, yeah. So we had a couple different trailers going on today. That's why I call this one Trailer Park a Go-Go, because we had a shitload of trailers going on this week. We had a teaser trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home. And good God, they had Mysterio in it, and what looked like, and I'm fairly sure it was, Hydro Man. Which I don't know, because actually at one point it looked like Hydro Man turned into Sandman, because we had some sand mixed in there too. And I liked it a lot. I wasn't the only one. I guess this trailer broke a record, 130 million views within the first 24 hours. Yeah. 130 million views. This movie is going to blow up. It's gonna, I hate to say this, but Sony's got their claws in Marvel in just this character alone. Deep. And I'm sure Kevin Feige is pissed about it because, there's really nothing they can do. Honestly. I don't know if it's going to be elementals, to tell you the truth, Viking Bitch. Fonobi says it's going to be elementals or Mysterio's illusions. There's been all kinds of rumors out there, but people have asked Jake Gyllenhaal. That's how I don't know how you pronounce his name, but if Mysterio that he's playing is a hero or a villain, and he won't say which one it is. It could very well be, Filthy News. It could be that Sandman and Hydro Man, are projections that he's using to steal stuff. But he's also using what looks like Doctor Strange's, mystic powers, because he's doing the same kind of incantations, hand movements, all that kind of stuff as well, and flying around, which for a stuntman, that's kind of interesting. There was a version of Mysterio who did, practice magic, if you will, and so they might be tapping into that. It could be a couple different Mysterios rolled into this one. But I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they do this. And I'm looking forward to it, honestly. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, as Peter Parker. That whole thing with him and Aunt May, him going out and speaking in front of a crowd, and then, of course, them high-fiving behind stage, and then meeting Happy, and Happy, talking about Aunt May's dress, that it's a new dress, and all this stuff, and Peter Parker looking back and forth between her and him. Yeah, you know what? Filthy News. I saw parts of online of people talking about Kevin Smith's reaction video. I don't like Kevin Smith's stuff just because he's up for the highest bidder. Yeah, I really don't follow anything that he says. I'm sorry, I just don't. Yeah, I mean, I know he's a fanboy and all that stuff too, but at the same time, he gets paid for what he does. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. Especially Star Wars. Yeah. I know. I'm sorry. Some of his movies are okay. But yeah, Tom Holland, I like. I like him as Spidey. Yeah. So, the movie that I really, really liked, I mean, granted, I liked that Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, but the movie I've been waiting for a while comes out on May 27th. John Wick 3 Parabellum. Now, if you don't know what parabellum means, it comes from the Latin phrase. There's a Latin phrase, and it's actually the last part of the Latin phrase. So the Latin phrase says, if you want peace, prepare for war. Parabellum is prepare for war. And we have John Wick, of course, has been excommunicado from the Continental and all of its privileges, and he is now being hunted. He has a $14 million bounty on his head, and everyone in the world is hunting him down. And good God, was that trailer fucking awesome. Just the stuff that was going on. I mean, so much stuff. Dogs with bulletproof vests. Ninjas riding on bikes, with katanas. I mean, my God, it's I'm really looking forward to this one. Probably out of every movie that's coming out this year, I have to admit, this is the one I'm looking forward to the most. And Viking Bitch says I need to get caught up and watch. You haven't watched the first two, Viking Bitch? Yeah, you need to see the first. I'm going to warn you right now. The first one, the first like 15 minutes is kind of hard to get through just because of the content of it. For me, I even rewatching it, it's hard for me to get through that first 15 minutes. But it's damn good. It's really damn good. Yeah. Yeah. And it's just it's gonna be a nice wrap up. It's going to be a very, very nice wrap up, I think, to the series, because that's where they're heading with this. And then they're going to go into the Continental series, the TV series, and I believe they're going to do something called The Ballerina, which is based in this world. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that is supposed to be one of the next movies, is The Ballerina. Which I wonder if they're going to introduce that into... Stormy Scott says, I've been hunting Keanu Reeves for years. Yes, Dennis, they have some cruel dudes in the opening of John Wick 1. You want them? Yeah, you have no remorse for those motherfuckers in the first movie at all. They get what is coming to them. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You want them to die. And you want them to die in the worst way. Yeah. And can I say... Peter Stormare in the second movie is but Peter Stormare in any movie is awesome. He's one of my favorite character actors. He really is. Yeah, Viking Bitch. Keanu Reeves. So during the Matrix movies, I believe the first Matrix movie, he injured his back, and he injured it so severely that he had to do surgery on it. So if you take a look at the Matrix 2 and 3, he's only doing upper body martial arts. He's not doing any leg work because he got injured to the point where he was almost a paraplegic. So he almost lost the use of his legs at that point. So they just kept him doing upper body martial arts. He healed up fairly well. He got a 100% clean bill of health before he started doing John Wick, and he has been learning more and more martial arts. So all the stuff that you see him doing in John Wick is him, which is amazing. I mean, the dude's 52, 53 now, something like that. And to see him kicking ass like he does, and sure, they intersplice it with some stuntman here and there for the bigger scenes, but yeah, it's good. It's really good, and it's directed by a stuntman. It's written. The first movie is written by a guy who it was his first script, honestly, and it's really, really damn good. I got lucky. So ArcLight Cinemas down here in San Diego and also in LA. They had Keanu Reeves, the director and the writer, in LA, and they actually did a satellite image over to us in San Diego the night that we were watching it. We watched it opening night, and I was able to tweet questions over to them. You were able to tweet questions to them and stuff like that. So it was really kind of cool. It was a live Q&A, which was very fun. So. Stormy Scott says after John Wick chases them around Russian baths, lots of drop towels. Filthy, the Bill and Ted sequel's on hold again. We don't know what's going on. Yeah, there's something that's been held up. I know that Alex Winters is working on a documentary right now. He's been working on quite a few documentaries because he's a director too. Alex Winters is the guy, of course, who plays Bill, and he's in his own right, he's a good director, and he's been doing a whole bunch of documentaries, and I forget, it's Frank Zappa. That's who he did the documentary on. It's on Frank Zappa, which I'm really interested in seeing. I think it's supposed to air at South by Southwest this year, from what I've heard, and I've heard it's really damn good. So that's something I want to see. Yes, see, I actually cultivate all this news as I'm going through, and I pick up little tidbits here and there of what's going on, and they stick in my brain, I guess, and some don't. Some fly out. It depends. But yeah, I'm kind of interested in that Frank Zappa documentary to see how it's going to do. So March 27th, Happy returns to Sci-Fi with season 2. And we got a nothing but bonkers trailer that came out of that. I mean, fucking bonkers. Bonkers trailer. And of course, instead of having it being set in Christmas time, they're taking on Easter. And the church. And they want to rebrand Easter with children again. It's not right. Yeah, and Nick Sachs trying to be a dad. Yeah, Happy is pretty damn funny. Excuse me, if you haven't seen Happy, it's on Netflix right now. You can watch it in its entirety. I think you can also watch it on sci-fi.com as well. So I think that's what they're going to do, Viking Bitch. I believe that's what the plan is that they're going to take on all the holidays. And because I was wondering how they're going to do a second season, and it's brilliant. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. The Filthy News is, speaking of Amazon Prime Video, check out Corner Gas. Yeah, I've heard of Corner Gas, and a couple of people have talked about it already. So I'll probably check it out at some point when I have some modicum of time. I don't know when that's going to be, but yeah, I've still got to go and watch The Punisher because The Punisher dropped last night. What else? I've got to finish up Future Man because I'm doing Future Man. Yeah, and Margaret coming into Happy. My God. They did an interview with her, and and it's so funny that she says she didn't know what she was getting herself into when she signed up. And then she said when she found out what it was and how wrong it was, she kind of just went with it. And Chris Maloney, I guess, she really leaned on him for stuff that was happening, and they've become really good friends as a result of this. And I thought it was just pretty damn funny. Yeah, yeah, Slurmy Scott, you're right. The happy trailer is better than an entire episode of Orville. And yeah, Anne Margaret looks damn good for her age. She looks damn good. What is she now? She's pushing 80, I think, at this point, right? So yeah. I mean, she looks like she's in her like late 50s, early 60s. She's damn, looks damn good. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And yes, Stormy Scott, there's a lot of things that are better than an entire episode of The Orville. 77 Pen Farm Girl, what's that? Oh, she's 77. Okay. Oh, yeah, so she is pushing 80. There we go. Yeah, I mean, honestly, you look at that trailer, and yes, I know she's got makeup on and all that kind of stuff, but still, she looks like she's in her late 50s, early 60s. And honestly, makeup only hides so much. So yeah, 77. Wow. And she looks like she was doing some acrobatic work in Happy as well. So definitely looking forward to that one. That's going to be a lot of damn fun. So this next trailer that I have is something that I stumbled across. Honestly, I didn't know what the hell it was. The title was what intrigued me. It gets released on February 8th on, I believe, theaters, video on demand, and digital. And it's called The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot. And it stars Sam Elliott. Ron Livingston's also in it as well. And it, again, an absolutely bonkers, batshit trailer. I have it up on my Facebook page. Yeah, February 8th, The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot. So what it's about is a soldier played by Sam Elliott who, during World War II, actually killed Hitler. He walks into his office. It's actually in the trailer and kills Hitler. And people had covered it up. The Nazis had covered up that Hitler had died. And, we know it as something else. And then later on, he's now, I believe it's either now or in the 80s or 90s, something like that. He is hired to kill the Bigfoot because the Bigfoot has H1N1 virus, and it's like a virulent kind that is killing anything that it touches. So he needs to go out and hunt it down and kill it before it spreads the disease and causes a mass pandemic. As batshit crazy as it sounds, and they take it seriously. If you go and look at the trailer, it's taken seriously, which I love about them. Yeah, Sam Elliott is I believe he's in his 70s now at this point. Yeah, it looks like a lot of damn fun. Yeah, Pen Farm Girl. Watch the trailer. Like I said, watch the trailer and you'll be sold on it. That Ron Livingston's in it too. And there's a couple other people that are in it too, which I just can't remember at the moment. Actually, hang on just a moment. I'll take a look because I have a link to it, which hopefully doesn't start up and, oops. And I went to the wrong one, of course. But yeah, it just looks absolutely bonkers, batshit crazy. My God, yeah. So we have Sam Elliott, Aidan Turner, Caitlin Fitzgerald, Larry Miller. That was the other person, and Ron Livingston. So if you're a film geek, you know quite a few of those names. If not, that's okay. Sam Elliott's 74. Yeah. Yep, Aidan Turner. That's right. So I believe Aidan Turner plays the young Sam Elliott in that one. And I haven't seen Overlord yet, Filthy News. I wanted to see it in the theaters, and I just didn't have the time to. And I know it's out now. I've got to find time to watch that as well. I've got so much stuff I need to watch. Oh, sorry about that. That wasn't... let me see here. There we go. Everyone can still hear me, I take it. So, yeah, I didn't want that to my notification just popped up there on my screen, like, which is really great when you're in the middle of a. You can't hear me now? Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for doing that. That's really kind of crappy of you. I gotta go now. No. So yeah, definitely take a look at that one. I mean, February 8th, The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot. It looks like a damn lot of fun. That's all. So one of the other things that I found here on my phone this morning, I was actually just kind of looking around and for any kind of news that was happening. And we got news that Toby Emmerich, who is the chairman for Warner Brothers Pictures, in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, has officially said that any linked DCEU movies are officially dead. They're not going to link them anymore. As he puts it, we're highly focused on DC, and then says that they are no longer following the Marvel MCU route while discussing what comes next following the billion-dollar success of Aquaman. He says, we all feel like we've turned a corner now. We're playing by the DC playbook, which is we don't know what the fuck we're doing, which is very different than the Marvel playbook. We are far less focused on a shared universe. We take it one movie at a time. Each movie is its own equation and own creative entity. If you had to say one thing about us, it's that it always has been about the directors. No, it hasn't. Revisionist history. There you go. And yeah, dude, I mean, come on. I get it. Aquaman scored big for you guys overseas. It just finally crossed the $300 million threshold here and just beat out Man of Steel this weekend. Finally. And yeah, Joe Greer, if you bring in Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne and the Batman, holy shit. If you did Flashpoint that way, yeah, it would be awesome. And then you could reboot your entire freaking universe. You can keep your actors and everything. You can just reboot your entire universe. And I also heard that the Batman isn't coming out until 2021 or 2022 now, is what they're saying. Matt Reeves, the Batman. So Joe Greer says, props to Emergency Awesome. Yes. Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan would be an awesome Thomas Wayne. And I know that, you know, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's talked about wanting to play Batman. So is John Hamm. There's a lot of people that have been talking about wanting to play Batman. I still think Armie Hammer would have played a really damn good Batman. But maybe that's just me. Exactly, Viking bitch. We don't know what the fuck we were doing. Sounds like the new Hollywood direction. Exactly. Throw it at the wall. See if it sticks. If it makes money, we'll make more of it. And just like it. And plenty of it. Until people get sick of it. And then never want to see it ever again. Filthy News says Netflix is getting Unsolved Mysteries reboot. Produced by the producer of Stranger Things. Yeah, I saw that. And yeah, it's not really in my wheelhouse. I honestly, when the original Unsolved Mysteries was on with Peter Stack, I'm glad it became a joke later on in the 90s. It really did. If you take a look at Basketball actually makes fun of it, and they use Peter Stack as himself doing an Unsolved Mysteries clip inside Basketball, which I thought was pretty damn funny. Yeah, Agent Future, my gut feeling is that Matt Reeves is going to leave the Batman project as well. Robert Stack, excuse me, not Peter Stack. Robert Stack, that's right. Robert Stack. Thanks for that correction there, Filthy. I forgot. And I loved him in Airplane. Robert Stack in Airplane is hilarious. And yeah, I really have a feeling that Matt Reeves is going to leave the Batman project too, because it's been pushed back so often now. It was supposed to start filming in February or March. They were supposed to have a script done by November of last year. And then they were supposed to start filming like next month or March, something like that. Now it's been pushed back to, I guess they still don't have a script going, but they know that the Penguin's going to be the main villain. That's all they know. And now it says 2021 to 2022, which means that Ben Affleck is aged out at that point and gone, which I have no problem with, quite honestly. Because it's supposed to be a younger Batman anyway at this point, I believe, this take. And welcome Ed Brewer and Agent Future and Joe Greer. You take dictation, Viking bitch? Yeah. There are so many jokes there, and I'm just going to leave it to Movie Fino because he's the one who can do it for you. And yes, that pun was intended. There we go. I'll be here all week. And speaking about more WB properties, Amazon suspended the sales of Warner Brother properties just recently, and this includes season passes of CW shows. So all the Arrowverse shows, any new episodes you can't watch now on Amazon. The way people have been doing it by buying the season pass. And this is most likely over a pricing dispute. The same thing kind of happened in 2014. They had the same kind of thing happen going on, and people are a little bit upset over it. Of course, because they paid for their content and they want to see new stuff and they're not seeing it. And I tell them, why don't you just go and watch it for free on the CW app? Because you can watch it for free instead of paying for it like a sucker on Amazon. Yeah. That's all. There's a lot of stuff that, you know, you can get for free that you don't need to pay for on Amazon. And, you know, you end up paying for it on Amazon versus seeing for free. That's all I'm going to say. Pen Farm Girl says, I still kind of like to see Keaton come back as a aging semi-senile Batman who won't give up the cape. You mean Batman Beyond? Yeah, I was having this conversation with Filthy last night, and I still say it should be Clint Eastwood as Bruce Wayne and Scott Eastwood as Terry McGinnis. So... yeah, not life hacks, Ed Brewer. It's just common sense. I mean, why would you pay for something that's free? I mean, they even advertise it on their site. They say, hey, you know what? You can watch our shows for free. Or, you know, we broadcast them for free, so you can watch them for free as well. Because they don't get everywhere across the country. They only have certain affiliates. I mean, I can't get it through DirecTV now that I have. But... and I can't get it over the airwaves because I'm too far away from the tower. Even with the antenna and all that stuff, I barely get that channel. It goes in and out. So I just watch the next day on the CW app. Oh, yeah, you have to wait a day, but no big deal. Where are we here? Younger Batman, is he now Batboy? Is what Slurmy Scott says. No, they're trying to say in about the late 20s, early 30s range is what they're trying to do Batman as. Movie Finobi says DC ignoring their top tier 2 characters of Batman and Superman is a waste. It is. It's a total waste. Well, first you had one guy who had, you know, substance abuse problems that relapsed. And of course, no one can insure him now unless you double the amount of the movie, because that's what it's going to cost. And then you have another guy who made some sexist comments in a interview, and now he is. You don't see him in any movies at this point because no one's going to touch him with a 10-meter cattle prod. So there you go. You just need to go back and start recasting at this point. Yeah. Joe Greer, yes, I did have the Legion shirt on yesterday. My Legion shirt I got from the Legion panel at Comic-Con, which is up on my site in its entirety. Yeah, it was kind of a funny thing. He told us we were getting a shirt. I think you see at the very end of the panel, and everyone cheers. And as we're going out the doors, because it was the very last panel of Comic-Con was Legion. We're heading out the doors. They hand us a pin, and then they hand us a shirt. And the shirt I got was a size small. And so then everyone's gathered around outside of Hall H. And we're like, I got a small. And someone's like, I got a medium. Trade. We trade. Okay, I got a medium. I got a large. You know, you trade. And so, yeah, I got my shirt that way. Mufinobi says, Dennis, are there any cons or entertainment gatherings for you before San Diego this year? There probably are, but yeah, I know Long Beach. Long Beach has one. It's about an hour away from me, roughly. And I think WonderCon is actually before that as well, which is about an hour and a half away, something like that. So, Agent Future says they can watch for free or wait until the end of the season. It will be on Netflix. That's true, Agent Future. All the CW shows will be on Netflix. Viking Bitch says Clint Eastwood arguing with a chair only as Bruce Wayne would be hilarious. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, and I agree with you, Mufinobi. Scott Eastwood cannot act. He can't act his way out of a paper bag, a wet paper bag, with a knife, a Sherpa, in the 4th Regiment. Stormy Scott says, I got a medium, I got a large. Sounds like closing time at the bar I worked at. Yeah, it pretty much does. It was kind of like that. Viking Bitch says, yes, Dennis Wolf, how are your cooking skills? My cooking skills are excellent. They're not as good as Wolf's, though, but I can give him a little bit of a run for his money. Filthy news, yeah. Comic-Con in San Diego is bonkers insane, especially now that they've closed off the road in front of the convention hall, which they finally needed to do because so many people kept getting killed by cars. You'd have at least 1 or 2 people get killed a year crossing that street because they'd cross it illegally. And so, yeah, they've closed off the road, and now you can only get to near the convention unless if you have a badge. So they won't even let people gawk at the stuff on that side. You guys already stalked me. I already know that, Pen Farm Girl. I feel when people are looking at me. Filthy News says, I go to a HalCon here in the city every year. I've heard about that. I've heard it's pretty good. Yeah, there's a couple different cons I'd like to go to. I've actually shot down that drone. Yes, Pen Farm Girl. You probably noticed that your signal got cut there pretty abruptly. So, well, you know what, Slurmy Scott? We didn't have any deaths going on at Comic-Con until Twilight showed up. I want to say Twilight was literally the first year that there was a death, because they started lining up on Tuesday, and Comic-Con didn't start until their Twilight panel didn't start until Saturday, I think is what it was, and they were lined up there outside on Tuesday. And some woman went to go cross the street illegally and got hit by a car and died. That was the first one, and every year thereafter, there's been people freaking out or whatever. The worst one, and it's just a sad story, was a deaf man was driving with his family, and he went into the zombie run and freaked out because there were all these people dressed as zombies, and they were kind of like pawing on the car and everything, and he freaked out and gunned it. So yeah, some really weird shit that goes on. And I don't even drive down there, quite honestly, because well, first of all, the parking's like $50 a day now, and you have to reserve it like months ahead of time in order to get your parking spot, which is really ridiculous, because the trolley stops right in front of the place. I mean, literally right in front of the place. And my trolley pass for the day is $2. So, and it takes half an hour to get, from there to there. That's all it is. I drive to a trolley stop, park, and I'm there. So, Ed Brewer says, speaking of Wolf, I'm ready for the next Future Man review. Yes, the next Future Man review is going to be on... I don't know yet, to tell you the truth. I may do one tomorrow night. I'm not too sure. It depends on what I've got going on tomorrow night. I still haven't heard back from some people as of yet. So I was supposed to have something going on in the afternoon and don't know if that's happening or not. If it's not, then I will do a Future Man review tomorrow. I'm going to do a Counterpart review in the morning, of course. Counterpart episode 6. Going to do that. Because I have The Passage on Monday. I have, what is it on Tuesday? Project Blue Book on Tuesday. Wednesdays is Deadly Class now. Thursdays is Gotham, and Fridays is now Future Man. I do Future Man on Fridays as well. So I want to do 2 a week, but it's kind of hard to schedule something to, around my schedule as well. To watch it, take notes on it, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I do have to plan for these things. I know it doesn't seem like it, especially with my with my style, but yeah, it's yeah. Agent Future, why did Counterpart take a week off? They took a week off because it's actually the mid-season break. That's their version of the mid-season break. I think it's only 10 episodes, which really sucks. And yeah, Pen Farm Girl, Passage has me intrigued too. It just needs to tighten up its storytelling a little bit more so it's not all over the place and trying to throw... I understood that the first one was a pilot and they had to throw lots of stuff in there quickly to get their point across, to get people engaged in it. But yeah, I'm hoping the second episode, kind of clears that up a little bit. That's what the woman who plays Claire, I can't remember her name, she said it was the mid-season in one of her tweets. And again, hashtag Save Counterpart. Viking Bitch says that was a terrible idea at Agent Future, especially with the rating down. Yeah, I don't know what Starz is thinking. Starz is run by Lionsgate, and I'm pretty sure Lionsgate's only duty is to see how much shit they can put into production and then cancel so that they can get more money back from tax breaks of money that they've lost. That's pretty much all it seems like they're doing. But yeah, I'm optimistic about The Passage as well. I mean, it looks like it's going to be good, and Mark Paul Gosselaar is interesting. He's an interesting character. Oh, that's right, Movie Fanobi. I was going to talk about Glass today, and I think I'll talk about it right now. I'm going to do a non-spoiler review. How about that? So I wasn't too big on Split. Split, for me, the only reason why I went to see it, because I heard after the fact that it was a sequel to Unbreakable, that you find out at the very end that it's actually a sequel to Unbreakable. Unbreakable being one of my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movies. It's really damn good because of what he's talking about, and that he actually kind of breaks down comics for non-comic people in this movie. And he does the same thing in Glass. In Glass, he finishes up the trilogy. And that's what this is, the trilogy. And McAvoy is amazing. How he does not get an Oscar nomination, he should be getting an Oscar nomination for this, just because of how fast he cycles through personalities. They list all his personalities too in the credits, and I believe he has 20 of them going on. Yeah, Ed Brewer, if you're not a big fan of the pacing of Unbreakable, which a lot of people weren't, I can see how you're not going to like, that it's just going to be an okay movie. But for me, it was the same pacing as Unbreakable. It was the same cadence as Unbreakable and the same message as Unbreakable. And that's what got me into it. And especially there's one scene in there with the doctor at one point, and this isn't a spoiler or anything, where she mentions comic conventions. and how comic conventions are corrupting people, corrupting children and teenagers into believing, otherworldly stuff. And it's the age-old argument that people have been making about comics for a long time now. And they just don't realize that comics is a different medium of storytelling. It really is. It's no different than a book. It's no different than a movie. It's just a different medium of telling a story. And if you have a stigma of it saying, oh, that's for kids, then you're cutting off an avenue of a different kind of storytelling for you. And you might miss something that you might actually enjoy. And that's what he was getting at in this, which I really dug, that he went that far. And for those of us who've read comics for years or all our lives, all that kind of stuff, he really got that. Filthy News says, I watched M. Night Shyamalan's interview with Colbert the other night. There were originally 23 identities. 3 were cut out. Damn. Viking Bitch says, comics corrupt the children. I thought that was my job. That's true. You do have that job, don't you? Movie Fanobi says, I enjoy them because they are non-typical and it's a unique perspective. One thing I do hate, M. Night's cameos. Laugh out loud. He's worse than a car. Yeah, that. Oh my god, that that cameo that he had. I was like, dude, just hire somebody else. You suck at acting. I understand you want to do like the Hitchcock thing, but if you want to do Hitchcock, just have yourself in the background. I mean, you could have had yourself as an extra, like one of the orderlies or something like that, or a janitor mopping the floor in the asylum or something like that. That's all you need to do. Nothing more. Yeah, Movie Fanobi. They sell TV shows at conventions, she says. Two main gripes: the empathy for the villains, some of the handling of the well, actually, there is no empathy for the villains, really. It's no worse than the comics, honestly. He did follow comic book lore to a T, quite honestly. And it's no worse than Magneto, what's been done with... I mean, Magneto's killed thousands, millions of people, really. If you get down to it in the comics, he has killed a shitload of people, and yet a lot of people have empathy for him. So it's no different than that. Quite honestly. Yeah, Filthy News. Stephen King used to do cameos, but Stephen King was he was animated and he's a little more... M. Night Shyamalan is just very wooden. He's very, very wooden. Slurmy Scott says, I love Lucy Corrupted Me. Being drunk, funny. Take too many pills, funny. Lie to your husband, okay. Well, now we know how Slurmy Scott's household runs. Viking Bitch says, Stephen King is not an actor either. Just because you can write doesn't mean you can act. Yeah. Look at Quentin Tarantino, though. I mean, he's a writer, kind of. He takes a lot of things. But he's kind of interesting as an actor. Sometimes he overacts. And I mean, not overacts. What he does is, it's this weird thing that I've seen some people do when they act, is they anticipate the line of the person that they're acting with, and they kind of step over that line by going a little fast, and he does that all the time because he knows what the next line is that's coming, and he can't wait to get his line out. Only reason why I know this, because I've done readbacks too, and I do it, and it's something that's in my mind that I have to kind of pull back from when I've done those. In a class that I was taking and for screenwriting, it was something I needed to do for my media art and animation degree. And we had to do readbacks of this stuff, and I actually had to pull myself back from it. So, oh man, oh, you guys are doing the Lucy. You got some explaining to do. Yes. So yeah, I highly recommend Glass. I'm going to be buying that when it comes out. It's going next to my Unbreakable DVD. I might have to buy Split now at this point as well. So you know what, Joe Greer, I haven't seen it. I honestly, I haven't. I just I'll tell you what happened with Stephen King. I got tired of Stephen King a lot. And I put myself on a Stephen King moratorium for 10 years. I said, I can't watch anything by Stephen King for 10 years. That was 12 years ago. Yeah. Actually, no, it was 15 years ago. Now I think about it. Castle Rock, I think, was one of the first things I started watching. And I stopped watching that one because it was pissing me off. The mystery box thing just pisses me off to no end. And I know it's not Stephen King, really. It's J.J. Abrams' group that does that, the mystery box. So it's one of those things that, yeah, just irks me. The mystery box stuff really does irk me. Movie Novi says Dennis loves us. There would be less joy in his life without us. You're right. What'd you think of it, Joker? Viking Bitch says it was really well done. It was one of my favorite King books. There was no mystery box in it. Yeah, I know there's no mystery box in it. It's just Stephen King's writing. I have a problem with Stephen King's writing as well. It's very pedestrian. And I just can't. I can't get through his writing. I'll take a crack at it at some point in time. I don't know. Mufinobi says, I really, really, really wanted them to do another crack at the stand with streaming and serialized TV and the right people. They could have made a kick-ass version. MOON smells moon. Sorry, that was from the old TV miniseries of The Stand. And I know it's from the book too, but yeah, it sticks with me. Oh man. Movie says I'm worried about the adult cast of the next It movie. I want a teaser trailer. I guess James McAvoy tweeted out that he was standing next to Pennywise in the sequel to this, to It, and he says he doesn't want to be here. Viking Bitch says I prefer to gently stroke the like button. You guys can stroke the like button. You can smash the like button. You can push the like button, or you can click the like button. However way you want to do it. A movie for Nobi says seeing Laura San Giacomo with the rogue stripe hair didn't do it for me. Yeah, that wig was pretty bad. Pen Farm Girl says, I like the old version of The Stand. Is that wrong? No. I mean, it's got Matt Frewer in it. Matt Frewer makes everything better, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Slurmy Scott says, Dennis, I did watch The Girl with All the Gifts. A little gory, but interesting ending. She eats a raw cat. She does. But you know what? Was it a plump cat? That was the whole thing. Because, that's what you need for Festivus, is you need a plump cat. And that's what the future was supposed to be promising us was, plump cats for Festivus. And not just during Festivus, but for all times. That's right, cat fucker. Yeah, that cat fucker really knew her way around a flamethrower. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, watch Future Man on Hulu. I've been doing reviews of that. Season 1 and Season 2 are both up on Hulu. You can sign up for a free 30-day subscription. I do not work for them, but I am trying to get that show out there and get people to watch that damn show, man, because it's damn good. Half-hour episodes, funny, Back to the Future references, Terminator references, you name it. If you like sci-fi and you like good comedy and well-written shows, watch Future Man. See, I put ads in between these things too. I should have myself like spinning around slowly, kind of like they do on Fox, like in the little corner here. Slowly rotating white man. Yeah, Matt Frewer was great in Orphan Black, Joker. Like I said, he's great in everything that he does. I love Matt Frewer. I would like him to come back and do Max Headroom again. Max Headroom was severely underrated, the TV show. Excuse me. He was good. I mean, he was damn good. And I think, Max Headroom was ahead of its time by great leaps and bounds, by decades, honestly. The Filthy News says, I really liked Echo's Harley Quinn in Gotham. Yeah, it's yeah, because her name is Echo, is what her name is, not Harley. So even though she's playing a Harley Quinn character, yeah, it might be on the CW app. Joe Greer, what was that? Max Headroom was the Max Headroom. I think actually it's on Amazon if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I can't remember. And I did love Back to the Future 3 when they do the Max Headroom Ronald Reagan and Ayatollah. Yeah, it just makes me laugh because that they got that actually kind of right. You know, they go into 2016, 2015 is what Marty travels to, and there's an 80s cafe, which yeah, we're kind of in the middle of an 80s renaissance now still. I thought that was pretty damn funny because that, you know, I love when they get some stuff close to what actually happens when they predict things in the past, you know, that's going to happen in the future. So some things that are probably going to happen in the future here. Netflix, well, this just happened, but Netflix raised its prices 18% from $10.99 a month to $12.99 a month. And of course, more if you have the Premier package and all that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty sure that what's going to end up happening is that other streaming services are going to follow suit because Netflix is saying that they need to do this so that they can get out of the debt that they're in for the shows that they're creating, because they've created something like 475 different shows for this year. And they, of course, are in major debt. And that's why they've raised their prices for their consumers so that they can pay this debt off. But I think what other places are going to do, like Hulu, DC Universe, all this kind of stuff, are going to see what comes about in the next couple of months, because people are going to stay with Netflix. There's going to be no doubt about it. You've got a couple of million viewers, a couple 100 million viewers that are watching Netflix right now and paying for Netflix. They're not going to give it up. And other streaming services are going to see this and they're going to stay with it. Filthy News says, okay, that was weird. I'm watching this on my PS4. All of a sudden you became a cellular gaming video. That is kind of weird. I don't know what that happened. Maybe they're trying to tell you something. Slurmy Scott says he got his name from the last thing he can remember seeing the bridge he is about to hit. Say Max Headroom, 17 feet. That's right. As he flew off his bike, they were trying to kill him. And he flew off his moped, if I remember correctly, and went headfirst into the Max Headroom sign. He didn't die, but they scanned his brain to see what was in his brain. And Max Headroom was the result. Viking Bitch says, I like Netflix, so I will stick with it. However, I'm at my limit as far as streaming, so I'm not going to add others. Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm at my limit too. And quite honestly, if Stars cancels Counterpart, I'm done with Stars. I will never go back to them. I don't care what they put on. They could put on a Stainless Steel Rat series, which I know will be canceled anyway because they won't promote it or anything like that. And I won't sign up for it. Yeah, just not worth it. DC Universe, I'm probably going to have to break down at some point in time and subscribe to it probably after Counterpart is done here and sign up for that. Yeah, Slurmy Scott, actually Stu had his entire mind downloaded, unlike Max Headroom, which was just a scan. Yeah. And Filthy, funny that you mentioned about PS4. So PS4, and I think I talked about this last week, Sony is finally going to actually put their PlayStation Network to good use, which, part of the other thing about this Netflix, raising their rates is in a letter to their shareholders, Netflix said that Fortnite is actually a bigger competitor than HBO or Hulu. They don't care about HBO, Hulu, or other streaming services. They're like, yeah, fuck that. They are no big deal compared to Fortnite. Fortnite is our biggest competitor because video games are their biggest competitor right now. And PlayStation is finally getting off their ass and going, oh yeah, we got the PlayStation Network. We can actually stream some shit on there. It's like, yeah, obviously, because you got a whole bunch of people that are playing video games. You're one of the biggest consoles out there, and you've got this, PlayStation Network that's been around since 2006 that you haven't been doing anything with. Put some revenue on that thing, man. There you go. Mufinoe says they have so many subscribers, but not sure how they can be truly profitable with all the content they make and all the content they license. Amazon has other revenue streams. Hulu has ads. Yeah. And I'm thinking that's where Netflix might be going, is with the ads, too, to tell you the truth. If they were smart. Hey, how's your father? I'm listening to you while I chillax. Well, welcome, man. Good to see you. Glad you found us. Yeah, Mufinobi, I don't say Fortnite is draining children's brains. It's the same thing. It's the same old argument, that, what is it? Comics will rot your brains. Video games will rot your brains. No, it doesn't. Just a different form of entertainment for people. That's all it is. Just shoot your eye out. Slurmy Scott says, for me, Netflix is a great deal for what I get, and my friend hooked me up to his Amazon account. Nice. Oh, that's right, Filthy News. I forgot about that. Yeah, add me on there on PS4. I haven't been on there. I'm sitting here. I look over at my PS4, and I still have Assassin's Creed Odyssey sticking out of the disc drive right there. I'm bad. I haven't played that in probably over a month. Viking Bitch says, I don't play games, so I wouldn't know. I prefer to train child brains the old-fashioned way with a straw. Exactly, the way it's supposed to be. And now you can get those metal straws, and if you sharpen them up really nicely, you can get through really easily. I suggest going through the base of the skull, right where it's thinnest back there. So I do not condone child death. Let's just say that right now. Or drinking of children's brains. I do not condone that message. Mufinobi says, I just mean Fortnite has permeated all gaming platforms and seems way more of a time suckage than most games in recent years besides GTA. Yeah, but I mean, Assassin's Creed, same thing. It's everywhere. Diablo was the same thing way back when. I mean, it all comes around. Movie for Nobody says, laugh out loud, Viking Bitch. I thought you only shaved children one at a time. Interesting. Bringing back the old ways. One child at a time. So we had, of course, the Punisher drop last night. And on top of that, last week we got word that John Bernthal, who plays the Punisher, is joining HBO's Sopranos prequel. We don't know what role as of yet, but more than likely Tony Soprano. Excuse me. And I'm pretty sure what this means is that Punisher is dead over at Netflix, which we've been talking about for a while there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, all that's left is Punisher and Jessica Jones. So that's two of their, Jessica Jones had some ratings to it. Punisher probably didn't have as many ratings as Jessica Jones. So there you go. I'm pretty sure it's the death knell for Marvel at Amazon, especially since their deal with Disney ends in 2019, ends this year. So there you go. And Disney starting their own streaming service. Disney, by the way, their D Plus or Disney Plus service that they're doing, I guess they just had to release all their fiscal documents in order to set that up. And they've been stretching themselves really damn thin. Really, really, really thin at this point. So don't be surprised if Disney Plus goes belly up before it happens. And they end up taking over Hulu instead. Yeah. And I haven't watched Punisher yet. I just haven't gotten the chance to sit down and do it. Had a little issues with the dog, so that I had to bring her into the vet. Everything's good, but you know. So, Filthy News says, I heard they're going to be canceled. We'll find out this week. We're not going to find out this week. We'll find out when Jessica Jones season 3 premieres, and that's usually about the week after it premieres. Then they announce that The Punisher's been canceled. So that was what, March or May or something like that. Yeah, Disney Plus, I think, will fail just because they are, like I said, the investment. So they had to put out all their financial documents out before they can sign up this new streaming service. And it, from what I understand, I briefly skimmed over the article. They said that Disney was shown to be stretching themselves a bit thin, and they're not going to be like pumping a lot of money into this to get it developed. So it's going to be a very bare bones app to begin with, and a bare bones service, even though they're going to be charging premium prices for it. And they're going to have a lot of content because they also have the Fox content, but I don't think it's going to last too long, to tell you the truth. And I think they're going to end up moving over to Hulu, which they own majority stock in right now. Slurming Scott says, I hope Disney keeps its hands off Hulu. They would cancel Future Man in a heartbeat, too adult for them. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And you know, it was kind of funny. I was looking at something else on Deadline. They were talking about Hulu, and actually it was the whole thing about the Disney share, Disney Plus, and they were talking about Hulu as well in there. And everyone in the comments was talking about Hulu. The only thing it has going for it is The Handmaid's Tale. And they have nothing else, you know, original. And I'm like, oh, I know what it was. First Man on Hulu got canceled, finally, got officially canceled. The Sean Penn thing about the first people. It wasn't even really about the first people on Mars. It was a first failed mission to Mars, is really what it was. And then it was all interpersonal relationships. I stopped at episode 5 because it was that boring. I mean, it's really, really boring. And no loss on that show at all. And so people are going, oh, well, Hulu, the only thing it's got going for it is Handmaid's Tale. And I'm like, well, there's also Future Man. You also got Runaways, you know, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, The Handmaid's Tale is too depressing for me as well. It's too close to reality. So I really don't need to watch that shit. And yeah, Slurmy Scott, Sean Penn with his weird yoked up arms where you can see the veins popping out of his biceps, and he's walking around like this with his, you know, it's just weird. I was watching the last episode he's walking down this gangplank, and his shoulders are up near his neck, and he's doing this, and his arms are out, and he's flexing a little bit so he gets the veins to pop out of his biceps. And it's the weirdest fucking thing I've seen. And I'm like, did your director tell you to do that? Or are you doing that on purpose? Or what's going on? Yeah, it was very slow and boring. I wanted to see something about people going to Mars. That's what I wanted to see. I didn't want to see stuff about people dealing with the aftermath of a failed mission to Mars. Yeah, the first is supposed to be about the first people on Mars. That's what it's supposed to be about. It's like, yeah. Feelings in Rockets. It wasn't even Feelings in Rockets movie for Nobi. It was Feelings in Hallways. He literally they spend more time in his house, and so he lives in New Orleans. That's where this whole thing is set, is in New Orleans. And he has a house, and below it, his wife, who had died of an aneurysm or cancer or something like that, had a tattoo studio. And they spend more time in his house in the tattoo studio than they do actually talking about, you know, about going to Mars or getting to Mars. And it's just boring. Sean Penn's last good movie was Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of some of his acting that he's been doing as of late. So, but So speaking of weird shit that's going on, Ava, and I'm gonna murder her last name, DuVernay, who is attached to be directing the New Gods. We got some movement on this, and we found out that Big Barda and Mr. Miracle are going to be the leads in this movie. That's what it's going to be centered around. Now, for those of you who don't know who Big Barda and Mr. Miracle are, they are two members of Apocalypse. That's the name of the planet that Darkseid resides on. And Big Barda used to lead the Female Furies. So they are married, Big Barda and Mr. Miracle, and they escape from Apocalypse and supposedly go to Earth seeking refuge. So that's what the movie's supposed to be about, is these two characters escaping Apocalypse, coming to Earth, and being followed by bad guys. Sound familiar? It might, because they use the same plot in He-Man and the Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren back in the 80s. The bad guys are going to be Granny Goodness and the Female Furies. Yes, Granny Goodness is a real character name in the DC universe. It was kind of funny. Someone posted up a picture of Oprah Winfrey in her Wrinkle in Time costume with the white hair and all that stuff, and she looks exactly like Granny Goodness. If she packs on a few more pounds, like if Stedman leaves her or something like that, she eats a little bit more, then she'll look like Granny Goodness. But yeah, I can see that. It would be interesting to see Oprah Winfrey as a bad guy. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, I'm interested in seeing this. Kind of, sort of. I don't know how they're going to do it. It's Jack Kirby's, Fourth World. So it could be very interesting in the right hands. You know who would actually do a really good Fourth World movie is Noah Hawley from Legion. He would do an awesome Fourth World movie. Filthy News says, did you get to the 30-second Watchmen trailer for HBO? Oh yeah, I did see that. I'm not a big fan of it, mainly because Damon Lindelof. So, dirty little secret here. Tomorrowland, the movie that Brad Bird did with George Clooney that everyone forgot about. It's an interesting movie. It was an interesting premise. There was a book that came out called Before Tomorrowland. I believe is what it's called. I've got it laying around here someplace. I found it at a Barnes & Noble for $3, a hardback version of it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll read this. I have been trying to slog through that thing. Damon Lindelof was one of the writers on it. My God. Seeing his writing is just, it's painful. It really is. The story is interesting because there's other writers that are involved in this as well. And it's set in the 30s, the 1930s right now. And yeah, it's just, I'm having problems getting through it. That's all I can say. Slurmy Scott said Oprah would make a good mom from Futurama. So sweet and kind and so very evil. Yes, she would. But I don't know. Well, I don't know if she'd be able to do the whole slapping of her sons. I don't know about Amanda Waller either. I liked God, I can't remember her name now. She played Amanda Waller in the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds, and I can't remember her name now. She did Amanda Waller. She really did. Excuse me. Kathy Lee Gifford is who I always saw as mom. That's a good one, Slurmy Scott. That is a good one. Kathy Lee is a drunk. Allegedly, movie Finobi. Allegedly, she's drunk. We don't want to do any absolutes, otherwise you might get sued. Oh my God. Yeah, I just read something from Viking Bitch. I'm not going to repeat. Bareback. Man, yeah, Viking Bitch. Noah Hawley. I don't know if Noah Hawley can do everything or anything. I like his visual representation. Like I said, it took me this long to realize that he's doing his version of The Prisoner with Legion. and he's doing a visual representation of the prisoner. And it took me to watching the original Prisoner again to realize what the hell he was doing. And I'm like, that's where he's getting all this from. I'm like, holy shit. Okay, that's what he's doing. I mean, he's mixing the comics with the Prisoner a bit, and yeah, it's awesome. I mean, he's doing a really good job of mixing that in. Again, speaking of shows, you may or may not like it. Legion, it polarizes people. Either you really like it or you really hate it. One of the two. I haven't seen Young Justice, Jody. You probably missed it. I don't have DC Universe, and I probably won't subscribe until after Counterpart's done and I get rid of Stars. So I got to watch the budget there, you know. So I got to get rid of one to get the other. One, the other. There we go. Yeah, and I don't know if I'm going to, you know, I doubt I'm going to do the full year thing. I might just do month to month, even though it's more expensive for the month to month, but still. Let's see what else I have the news here. So Channel Zero on Sci-Fi has been canceled after 4 seasons. And I can forgive you if you haven't heard of Channel Zero. Channel Zero was based on the creepypasta stories that were going on. So each season was its own story. And quite honestly, season 1 was the best one out of all of them. The first season was just awesome. Second season, nah, and third season, nah. So, and I didn't watch the 4th season at all. So, yeah, I am not. You know, it's not. Yeah, Channel Zero was disturbing, Pen Farm Girl, especially that first episode with the first season with that character just covered all in teeth. All in teeth. I mean, head to toe, just made up of teeth. It was weird, but I liked it. It was disturbing. Pen Farm Girl. I don't know if they pushed it too far. I think they. I didn't see the cannibal one. I heard the cannibal one was pretty gross, but I didn't bother with that one. Yeah, Jody, you're late. Go back and watch the video. Slurmy Scott says, oh, okay. Never mind. Filthy News asks, any Joker news? I don't know. I know they wrapped filming. I'm not, quite honestly, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, which looks weird, I don't have any hope in. So I don't know what's going on with that one. I'm trying to shy away from that one because it looks weird. Slurmy Scott says, hey, what is that Spider-Man thing at the end of Venom? I didn't get it. You mean the animated one, Slurmy Scott? The very end? That's actually from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the animated movie that came out that's been breaking box office records. Yeah, and it's for a reason, because it's actually really good. Yeah, Filthy News. I love Heath Ledger's Joker as well. It is the best. It's what the Joker is supposed to be. The Joker is someone who does not care. He doesn't have a set agenda. He really doesn't. He just doesn't care about morality or what's right, what's wrong, all that stuff. Just what is. He wants, as Alfred says in The Dark Knight, some people just want to watch the world burn, and that's what he is. He is a force of nature, if you will. Yeah. And yeah, Heath is missed. I mean, he was a good actor. I mean, if he was still alive, I'm just wondering what kind of stuff he would have done, what kind of movies he would have done. And I'm sure he would have gotten into directing at some point too. I wonder if he would have been in a Marvel movie. That would have been interesting. Yeah, it could have been interesting. Mufinobi says, Joaquin's makeup is turning me off. Well, just don't think about grandma. Uh, yeah, well, yeah, Morks. Hamill is my favorite Joker as well. For voice wise, yeah, for voice work. Um, Batman Mask of the Phantasm has one of my favorite lines in it where he is talking to one of the mafia bosses and he says, Mi Costronosa es su Costronosa. It's one of my favorite Joker lines delivered by him. I know I can't do the Mark Hamill voice, but it's hilarious. And by the way, if you haven't seen Batman Mask of the Phantasm, it is one of the best Batman movies. It probably is the best Batman movie, besides Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. The unedited version, the real version of Return of the Joker. Because, yeah, it's just, Return of the Joker is so wrong in so many ways, but it's a great Batman movie and just fucked up. Gotham's Joker, we haven't seen him yet. I mean, we've seen Jerome and we've seen Jeremiah now, but we haven't really gotten too much of Jeremiah's Joker this season. I'm waiting for them to do something. I really am. I guess we're getting Bane next week is what we're getting. So that'll be interesting to see how they do Bane. I did love the mutants, though, from The Dark Knight Returns. Although, as I believe Slurmy Scott said the mutants' nipples weren't pointy enough for him, which I have to agree they weren't. I was kind of surprised they didn't do that. It is Fox after all. It is their last season. I'm surprised Bruno Heller didn't insist that they get some really pointy nipples on the mutant guy. Jody says, "Oh, the one where the Joker gets a very Joker sort of ending." Yeah, Jody, that's Batman Beyond the Return of the Joker, and he does get a very Joker ending. But at the same time, what he does to push it that far, it was like, holy crap. I didn't watch the Killing Joke movie, Filthy News. Just because I skimmed over, I knew what was going to be in it, and I didn't want to. I really didn't want to watch it just because some of the stuff that's in it would kill the original story for me, and I like the original story. They really, yeah, they kind of really screwed the pooch on that. I'm kind of disappointed in Bruce Timm on that one. I'm surprised. Stormy Scott says, I wasn't the nipple guy. Sounds more like movie Finobi to me. It might have been. Someone mentioned it. I know that. Mork says, Hamill is also the Joker in the Arkham Asylum game. And the game was, yeah, he was in both versions of that game. And Kevin Conroy as Batman, who is the best Batman, by the way. He does that separation of voice between Bruce Wayne and Batman is what you need in an actor who is doing it. Granted, I like Christian Bale as Batman, but the voice, that's the only thing, man. I mean, swear to me, I just gargled some groks. This is what I sound like now. Yeah. I mean, when you have two great voice actors doing that, and by the way, that cleared up my throat too by doing that. I see why he was doing it now. He was just trying to clear his throat during filming and delivering the lines, and they filmed him and they decided to go with it. Jody says, Gotham's really become so convoluted. It's only enjoyable when you take the Joker's advice and let go of logic. Yeah, that I've said this all along about Gotham. Gotham is not a Batman story. It's an Elseworld story. It is batshit crazy. No pun intended on that. It's a weird show. It's a very weird show. And for those of people that are DC purists, they're going to hate the shit out of this show. I understand that. That's not what the show is about. The show is just a train wreck that you can't look away from. You really can't, but it's entertaining as all hell. I mean, it really is. And there was an article that I was reading, Barbara, who they first introduced for Jim Gordon, who was supposed to be Harley version 1, if you will, is one half of Harley, and now she's grown into her own character. And Echo is Harley version 2.0, and the two halves of them actually make a whole Harley. They make the real Harley Quinn, if you really will, if you were to combine the two. Filthy made a comic dad joke, really. Filthy News says, do you know what they call Batman after he leaves church? Christian Bale. Oh, good God. You're on timeout, Filthy. You're on a timeout for like a good 3 minutes now. Slurmy Scott says, I take the Joker's advice when I watch Valerian. Love that Luc Besson, but don't try to figure out a plot. Yeah, that was one of the most disappointing things. I had seen him at Comic-Con, and he was in Hall H for Valerian, and about a year before the movie was supposed to open. And he was talking about that they were working on the visual effects and everything like that. And he was talking about his love of the comic. The comic is awesome, by the way. And what came about from it was just really a weird movie. Honestly, it's visually striking. It's visually stunning, but someone needed to go over that script a little bit more and go, hey, where's the plot in this? Yeah. Oh my God. I'm not reading that movie, Fenobi. Because that's just a bad pun altogether. Penn Farm Girl says, back when they were originally making the Keaton Batman, a local paper reported that originally the roles were going to be reversed. Nicholson as an aging bat stepping over the line, Keaton as Joker. I remember that because, well, Keaton was mainly known for comedy at the time. Excuse me. And everyone thought that Keaton was going to be playing the Joker. I also remember that about 9 months before the movie was released, they did a teaser trailer that popped out, or 6 months before the movie was released. And the iconic, I'm Batman line, when it came out, it was Keaton's own voice. I'm Batman. And everyone in the theater just started laughing their ass off. And 3 months before the movie came out, they fixed that and they did a, voice edit. And if you go back and take a look at the original Batman, you never really get to see Batman's mouth because they dub over a good majority of his lines because of Keaton's voice. There you go. Jody says, yeah, that one was based on the French comic. The movie felt like a whole lot of sizzle, but no steak. Exactly, Jody. It was, I really wanted that to work too, and it just didn't. I saw that in the theater. I think I saw that in 3D in the theater, as a matter of fact. It was one of the few that I wanted to see in 3D because I kind of figured it would be really good visually, and it was great visually, but the story was just done. Yeah. Slurmy Scott says the first Batman was and still the best, and Jerry Hall ain't bad. Great, not a great actress, but fits the role perfect. Yeah, she was there as eye candy, is really what she was there for at the time. Hard to believe she was married to Mick Jagger and had a kid with him, or 2 kids, something like that. Yeah, weird. So the final bit of news that I have for today is Anthony Michael Hall has joined the cast of the show that will not die, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., for season 6. Don't know what he's going to play, but he's going to be in it. So Farmer Ted is going to be in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 6. And yes, he will never live down that role, Farmer Ted. So, yeah, he's in his 50s now? No, actually, I think he's my age. I think he's about 48. He's just approaching 50. So, yeah. There we go. Mufinobi says Kim Basinger Slurmy. Jerry Hall was also in it too. Mufinobi. She was the Joker's girlfriend at the beginning there, who ends up getting her face burned by acid. Yeah. Wow, Slurmy. I didn't know she married Rupert Murdoch. Really? Wow. Mork's the Big Bang Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. theory. Yeah, that show will just not die. And I don't know why Disney is keep ABC's trying to kill it. ABC brass wanted to kill it, and Disney stepped in and said, no, you're going to keep making it. Why? I have no idea. It's not a good Marvel series. It doesn't tie into the Marvel universe anyway. So Anthony Michael Hall is 50. Okay, yeah, so he's a couple years older than me. So, yeah. Oof. Wait, what? So who voiced Batman in the Keaton movies? I don't know, Jody. I don't know if it was Keaton himself that went back in and redubbed it with a deeper voice. I think it was. He might have gone in with a deeper voice to redub it, but he couldn't match it up completely, so they added a shadow over his mouth. Yeah. Jody says that finally ending, isn't it? Was it renewed? It's been renewed. It's so what is it? They just finished season 5. Season 6 they wrapped. Supposedly they're starting to film season 7 in February next month. February or March. And from what I understand, season 6, if you will, was supposedly cut in half. So they filmed a season 6 and they're supposed to split into a season 6, season 7. And that it was because all the actors have their contract up for renewal and they weren't sure if they were going to renew it or not. So that's why they decided to split it. And it's only going to come out in summertime anyway. So who knows? Yeah, Stormy Scott. Fun fact, Anthony Michael Hall was the youngest. No, at the time, I believe he was the youngest cast member on Saturday Night Live. And then I think Eddie Murphy beat him after that. So, if I remember correctly, yeah, Eddie Murphy was, he was 17, I think, at the time that Eddie Murphy came in. I think Anthony Michael Hall was 18 when he came in. Battle Marcus 8 from Glass. That fight scene in the parking lot with the clock soundtrack was good. That was good. Yeah. There's a lot of good things from Glass. I mean, there really is. And just the dialogue, too, near the end was really good. Penn Farm Girl says, I never realized he was so young on SNL. Yeah. Because he went from the movies straight into SNL. And then from SNL back into the movies again. Yeah. And I remember there was that weird time in the 80s. He was in Edward Scissorhands where he's the bad guy and he's all yoked up and stuff like that because he went the Joe Piscopo route there for a little bit and like bulked up because he wanted to be taken seriously as an actor. And I think that's actually kind of what did a little damage to his looks there, Slurmy. I think it was the steroid use, allegedly. Or the alleged steroid use. So, excuse me. Slurmy Scott says Eddie Murphy saw him at Wolf's restaurant in his red leather outfit. Did he have a bag over his head? Yeah, Jody, that was Anthony Michael Hall in Edward Scissorhands. He was what's her name's girlfriend, Winona Ryder's girlfriend. Winona Ryder's boyfriend, excuse me. I just realized what I said there. Like, oh, whoops. Slip of the tongue. It happens. Because where are we at here? We're at the hour and 38-minute mark. This is where we're at. Yeah. So when is Happy coming out, Battle Marcus? You missed that? You missed what I said? So Happy is coming out on March 27th. March 27th for season 2. So yeah, you can take a look on my schedule. I am updating my schedule on both my website, suspendedfanimation.com, and on Facebook. I keep it pinned to the top there so you can see when all the stuff is going to be coming out in video wise. I try and give times as reasonable as possible. Sometimes I'm trying to catch an East Coast feed and I can't catch it, so I have to catch the West Coast feed. So that's the reason why the time says to be announced on that. I try and let you know at least an hour beforehand, if not more. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Alleged girlfriend. Slurpee Scott. Yeah, I gotta say alleged because people get sued now for all kinds of shit that happens. You say something wrong on a podcast, and then they try and sue you for it. Or they take your podcast down or a YouTube channel down and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Movie for Nobby says Dennis is going to explore the potential for all the bean this weekend. That's right. All the bean. Exactly. I haven't reviewed Punisher season 2, Jody. I haven't even started watching it yet. I will watch it, and I'll probably let you guys know next Saturday, more than likely. It's just too much stuff going on, and it's hard for me to, sit down and watch stuff and write all this stuff down and let you guys know about it. Because I do need to take my notes because I'm getting old, and stuff flies in one ear and out the other, or out one eye and through the nose and out the mouth and all kinds of orifices. Thanks, Movie Fanobi. Yeah, it's I'm enjoying this Saturday stream too, Viking Bitch. It's a much more reasonable time. It's easier to do it at this time than to, where I was before. Filthy news, I would like to do the 300th episode of Supernatural. I really did like the first 5 seasons of Supernatural, and that's when Jeffrey Dean Morgan was in there. That's when there was a cohesive story line. Now it just seems like it's a free-for-all, but I may do a special review of the 300th episode. I like the Scooby-Doo episode. I know a lot of people bag on the Scooby-Doo episode, but I thought it was pretty much a lot of fun on that one. When you get old, you feel mermed. Exactly, Marks. Skibidi-doo-bop. Oh, poor Al. Al, you with me? Skibidi-doo-bop. I'm going to take that as a yes. Jody says, hey, but there was that positive bit of news with Lucas stepping in to help Star. Oh, yeah. I didn't get involved in all of that because I kind of figured they were going to realize it was a PR nightmare and they're going to turn around and do something about it anyway. That's just what ends up happening. It was a non-issue as far as I was concerned. Yeah. And honestly, it was, depressing news more than anything else. It was negative news. And yeah, sure, every now and then I'll do some negative news, but I left it for other channels to cover. I figured there'd be other people that would glom onto it and really just ride it to death. There's that old GIF of a horse being beaten to death. Yeah, there's a lot of channels that do that. So, about a lot of things. Sometimes just about a few things, too. Slurmy Scott says, Punisher could fill in for the Orville slot. Dennis, you're still a baby face to me underneath the caterpillars. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know if I could do 2. I might be able to. It depends. So Gotham, I'm going to be still doing Gotham. Gotham, I'm going to ride out to the end because speaking of dead horses, that one, I just really need to. I really need to finish that one out because it's just got me hooked in. Glass, I'm not going to do like an official review of it. You saw my review on here. It was a non-spoiler review, but still, if you haven't seen it and you're on the fence, if you liked Unbreakable, you're going to like Glass as well. Jody says, you always know how to have a different take on stuff. Dennis, thanks. Yeah, I try to. That's one thing about me, as I don't like being mired in the familiar, if you will. That's why the Orville kind of pisses me off. I've seen all that shit before. I've seen Star Trek Next Generation. I wasn't particularly a big fan of Star Trek Next Generation. I know Seth MacFarlane is, and all he's doing is copying that. I don't need to watch that again. And I know what's missing from that show now is it needs a laugh track, an entire laugh track throughout every single bit of it, because that's all it's missing. So I like new stuff that challenges me, that makes me think a little bit. And yes, there is some stuff too that's familiar. Like Future Man has a lot of familiar beats to it, but it does it in a way that's actually new and refreshing. And that's what I want to see. I want to see something that's new and refreshing. I think it was the late great Harlan Ellison who once said, and I'm going to paraphrase what it was. It was like 99.9% of stuff out there in the world is crap. He's talking about writing wise. He goes, and you have to search and search and search to find the good stuff in it. And you need to cherish it and love it and watch it and read it. And that's what, it's all about. Yes, we challenge Dennis's patience every day. You do, Movie Fanobi, especially you. And just you. Pen Farm Girl says the finish line is in sight. Why quit Gotham now? Yeah, I'm not gonna quit it. It's last season. It's gonna be absolutely batshit crazy, especially, and I keep saying batshit crazy, even though I know there's a pun in there. And I know the last episode they're gonna have Batman. I think it's the last 2 episodes where actually have Batman, like literally Batman on a TV show. That's fucking awesome. They're not gonna wimp out like Smallville did and have, a little guy in a cape about yay big flying around the world, which was kind of stupid. Joe Greer says, thanks for plugging the canceled sci-fi website. Very informative site. Which one was that, Joe Greer? Which one was it that I plugged that was canceled? I don't remember. Yeah, I do got to have closure on Gotham. That one, it's just, it's so weird that I need to finish it up. Listen to your Slurmy Scott. Yeah, you're trying to get him. You're trying to get him over there, aren't you? Don't fall for it. It's a trick. Sculpt letter out by Viking Bitch. Future Man is paying homage to things while adding a new twist. That's what makes it so good. Exactly. I did burn Fanobi, Viking Bitch. I thought you would appreciate that one. I don't know if it's going to be David Mazuz in the suit for the Batman suit. I think they're going to go older, so I think it's going to jump a few years. I doubt they're going to use him because I don't think he can bulk up. He's still like 16, something like that. And it'd be unless they shoot him full of steroids, which would be wrong. Battle Marcus 8 says, love Legion, challenge me to the brink of insanity. Yeah, that's why I like that show, man. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Well, it is the spiritual animal cousin to The Prisoner is what it is. I just realized that after rewatching The Prisoner. Suspendedfanimation.com isn't taking you to my website, Joe Greer? Is that what's going on? It should be. Because if not, I got to talk to some people then. In Viking Bitch, I think Galaxy Quest is dead. I don't think it's going to happen. Slurmy Scott said, no, hang on a sec. They're talking about other things. Movie Fanobi says, Jody, did you watch Punisher season 2? I was surprised seeing Mama Kent. Martha. Oh man, no. Okay. Mork, suspended Fanimation does not take you to your website. Really? That's kind of weird. You mean the link on my YouTube page? Here on my YouTube channel page? I'll have to check that out then and see what's going on. But if you type in suspended Fanimation, all one word.com, it should take you there. I know it's a lot to type out. but it will take you there. If not, you can always go to Facebook and take a look for Suspended Fanimation, and it should have all my stuff on there as well. Hopefully the link on Facebook works as well. Man, it's all these stupid links that sometimes don't work. And yeah. Pen Farm Girl says, I click the link all the time and it works. Hey, there we go. Hopefully it doesn't lead to a porn channel, because I don't want you watching all my stuff. I mean, Movie Fanobi says, I enjoy Galaxy Quest even more since VB and I shared it anew. Oh, good God. Sorry, I had a little bile that came up in my throat there for a second. It was the saccharine sweetness of that one. Hey, Pen Farm World, thanks. It works. She checks the schedule frequently. Good. Cool. Jody says, haven't gotten past the initial few minutes we'll watch after Dennis's stream. All right. So, with that said, if you like what you see, if this is your first time watching me, I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding. Welcome. And if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And if you don't like me, hit the dislike button. Either way, it works. If you want to see more videos from me or know when the next video is coming up, hit the little bell there. That'll let you know, hopefully, when my next stream is going to happen. And also, you're going to see up in this corner a little subscribe button. And over here, you'll see a little video area that will select the best videos from my library that are tailored to your likes, depending on what you've been watching there. So with that said, I'm going to let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your day. So don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up in insulin shock from what Movie Fanobi says to Viking Bitch. Good night, guys, or good morning.